Good afternoon, everyone, and I take this chance to welcome you to the session that God I'm going to talk about. One thing that is very important, especially in our current society, and as we approach the 2027 general elections. First thing, I would like to ask my a question. How us corruption, impunity, and lack of accountability widened or deepened the governance crisis in Kenya. And I would like to say this governance crises have increased, have been deepened as a result of these three, and they have resulted to what we call the sphere effect to our country's development, to our country's stability, especially the last 2 years we have witnessed instability in our country as a result of Gen Zs or the young people demanding accountability. We have also seen the citizen trust on government institution being eroded. Today, very few people would admit to take a case to a police station because they think that they will just be taken round and round. And these people are demanding bribes. These people are demanding to be given something to prosecute the case, to take the case to the next level, to give the necessary documents, to provide the evidence. And these are some of the things most of the institutions, especially the independent institution, I think the only office that is functioning currently is the office of the Auditor General. The other offices, I believe, the IBC, they need to pull up their socks. The Ethnic and Anti-Corruption Commission, they need to pull up their socks. We and the Judicial Service Commission, they are not really doing very well. We have the other offices, the office of the ODPP. We have the offices, the independent offices, other independent offices that I've not mentioned, like the National Land Commission and other commissions. They need to pull up their socks to make sure they build trust in those offices. Another thing I would like to tackle about how corruption has brought all this, has affected, has widened the gap in leadership. And first thing, I would like to define corruption as the use of public resources and public office for the private gain. In other words, is the use of public office, public position, and office ranks, or the position that you are holding, or the office bearer now using that office for the benefit, for his personal benefit. And this has resulted to many things, because corruption has been mentioned to be the worst and to have greatest impact on our public institution, to our public resources, because it's the embezzlement of public funds. Budgeting, we have heard about what we refer as budget and corruption. We go make budgets, which corruption is part of it. We give an allocation of 20 billion to a project, 10 billion, corruption. This has undermined the rule of law. So it has also distorted the public spending priorities. We put money where corruption, where it will benefit a public, where it will benefit a person. It will have a personal benefit to some individuals, of which it's not the right thing, and nobody. This has increase the poverty. It has also led to inequality in development, resource allocations, and all that, all manner of evil. Many children have failed to access education. Why? Because of corruption. The trust on public institution, we can't. Today, if you go, I don't know whether things have changed in the Office of Immigration, but I believe things were not good at all, and we need to do something on some of these issues to build trust. Then I talked about the impunity. This is where the exception of punishment, where the violation has taken place. It can be small or big, but violation of human rights, violation, embezzlement of resources, and these individuals end up being unpunished. It's one of the greatest problems we have. And when people realize that nothing is going to be done to them, they end up being rooted in what we refer as embezzlement of resources. And when there is embezzlement of resources, where there is embezzlement of public resources, we have ended up being in problems. Why am I talking about this? If I know very well what I'm doing, it will end up being unpunished because there is someone who is protecting me. I have a Godfather. Automatically, I will engage in rooting without fear of anything, because I know nothing can be done of me. And the effect of impunity has resulted to breakdown of trust on the rule of law. And when we talk about the rule of law, we all believe there is no one who is above the law. But when people are doing all this, engaging in conflict, clashes, incitement, and nothing, they end up being nothing is being done on that. That becomes a problem. It becomes an issue that needs to be discussed, because breakdown of the rule of law, it leads to what we call lawlessness. And when we end up in lawlessness, the country now becomes unstable. So impunity has fueled instability also. Erosion of social norms. The morally acceptable behavior, they end up now becoming useless. They don't make sense to these people. So there is need to end impunity in this country. And to avoid this also, potential for the leaders, it also fuels and also encourages the leaders to engage in impunity, to engage in corruption without fear, to abuse without fear, to engage in conflict without fear of consequences, because they know nothing can be done to them. We have seen this police using excessive force to deal with demonstrators. And many of them, they are protected by the godfathers in the police force or in the government. And this has been the problem in dealing with these cases of fighting for justice to those who got injured or lost their lives during the demonstration. I think we have witnessed this, especially when they are to provide evidence of the guns and bullets used, and exploitation of economic resources. Resources have been exploited as a result of those who do that. They know nothing can be done to them, and nothing will be done to them. The other thing, we have talked about freedom of expression. Why are demonstrators faced with a lot of force, the great police force, and nobody cares, nobody is worried about what will happen, because they know the impunity is nothing, and nothing will be done to them. They are exempted from the punishment regardless of what they do. The number 3 is lack of accountability. And when you talk about lack of accountability, accountability is a state of being responsible for your own action, for your own decision, and the outcome that comes as a result of the decision you are going to take. And when I talk about being responsible for your own actions, I will just focus on 4 aspects of accountability. And these 4 aspects of accountability, they include responsibility. Just be ready to carry your own cross, whether things go right or wrong. And the other thing is transparency. Be open to what they do. Be honest in terms of communication of how the resources have been used and all that. I think when we do that and we have these kinds of leaders, we'll have the best country we would like to have as the young people. The other thing is answerability. Who are we answerable to ensure accountability is ensured to the latter? Many leaders, especially in our political class, they are not answerable to the citizens, the people they are supposed to serve. They think they were voted in to be rulers and not the servant leaders for the voters. They are not answerable to the voters. And when they are invited to explain how resources have been utilized, I have watched the debates, and also when governors are invited to answer questions in the Senate and the cabinet secretaries. When I look at them, I wonder whether these people, they know that these are the people's representative and they are accountable to answering how they are using the power entrusted to them, the authority given to them, and the resources entrusted in their hands for the public gain, not for personal benefit. So on this, I believe answerability, transparency, and responsibility are main things to do when dealing with the issue of accountability. The last but not the least is what I refer as consequences. After I have seen the former governors being invited to ESCC to answer questions on the resource utilization, on how they spend resources when they were in power. And this has been a pushover I've seen the case of the governor Obando. I don't know. They accumulate a much resource, the amount of resources which has been lost. If we were to look at it keenly, we could be wondering where and what our leaders are really doing in these public offices. Are they there to serve the Kenyans, or are they there to enrich themselves? When I ask this question, I mean the young people, you have a responsibility. Before I go there, one thing I would like to talk about is the effect of lack of accountability in our institutions. So when there is no accountability, those in power, they get an opportunity to do what they want. And when they do what they want, corruption. We have seen the level of corruption in this country. I don't know, when we look at the office of the ODPP, the Ethnic and Corruption Commission, that is the EACC, and Police Oversight Authority, and other offices which are responsible for all this. I don't know where they sit, what do they see, especially when accountability is nothing to be seen near our leaders. Nobody wants to be accountable. The decisions our leaders make, if you had to ask them, why did they make such decisions? Most of them, they don't have a reason. Or the reason they have is very different from what. They are not accountable for such decisions. So, their positions are mostly used for their personal gain. What we can do as the young people is first, let's know we have the power to change this country. We have the best constitution that we can use. The chapter 6 and chapter 15 are the best chapters that we are supposed to go by as we approach the 2027 general elections. If we get credible leaders, and these are the leaders that we must evaluate very keenly and know who to vote in, and what kind, how credible, how accountable are these leaders in terms of their behavior. Can they be trusted with public service? What have they done before? And if that is being observed, I know everybody knows the kind of leader they would like to have after 2027 general elections. That leader in your mind, don't compromise it. Go for such leaders, and after 2027, we'll have a better governance in this our nation. The other thing, we must vote for the leaders who are willing to give institutions their real power. Strengthening institutions is not something that will come just automatic. It's something that we must be very keen on how we go about it. We have institutions which can function very well, but the people in those offices, who are they accountable to? One person, the appointing authority. So if these people are not independent, they are not appointed by the merit, but by the political affiliation, the godfathers. The moment they get in the office, they serve the interest of the appointing authority, not the main person who they are supposed to serve, who are the electorate and the citizens of the Republic of Kenya. So the loans, what we take as the loans also, the leader who will come must be accountable to every coin that is borrowed from outside and within the country. So by saying those, that I urge the Kenyans, especially the young people, we are the change makers. We are the king makers in 2027. If we take the responsibility, we take it as our task to make and to vote in, to bring in the leadership that we want, and take away the notion that ballots don't have a say in choosing of our leaders. I believe we'll not find ourselves in the streets complaining about the leadership, poor governance, and having leaders who are not accountable, the leaders who are perpetuating impunity, the leaders who are corrupt. That will not be the thing that will walk and run on our streets trying to fight against. We'll have the leaders who know they are there for the service of the public and not for their own interest. We'll avoid things like bribery, nepotism, favoritism, and everything else. And we will have a country that we'd like to see in future. Thank you for watching the video. Up to this point, I would like to say hashtag broken systems, broken dreams, accountability, wajibika, register as a voter, wajibika kuwa mpiga kura ijapo mwaka wa 2027. Thank you for watching the video.